Hey guys, it's Eric. I'm coming to you from the sunny beaches of Flower Mound, Texas. Just kidding, I have a green screen here, of course. Got to make this somewhat fun. Today I'm going to talk to you about what it takes to shut down your dental practice for an extended period of time. I'm going to go through it pretty quick, but I'm also going to have the information in the description below. So the first thing you're going to want to do before you shut anything down is you're going to clean your evacuation lines and leave those valves open for 5 to 10 minutes. This will purge any solution that's left over in the system completely out. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go into your mechanical closet and you're going to turn off the power to the air compressor, release the pressure on the tank, and then drain the tank. Those are two different things. There'll be a little valve to release the pressure and you'll hear pshh. And then the next thing you're going to do is there's going to be a drain plug that screws into the bottom of the tank. Sometimes condensation builds up and it's extremely important to potentially let all of that condensation drain out. So the next part's a little tricky. I don't know if you have a wet ring or a dry vac. You'll be able to determine that just by looking at it. If it's a dry vac, it has a big tank on it and then a motor. If it's a wet ring, it's just gonna have two motors and it cycles water through there to create the vacuum. I'm gonna go over both of them. So the wet ring's pretty easy. You turn off the water supply, you flush the lines, and you replace the solids collector. The dry vac's a little more difficult just for the simple fact that there's different units on the market. Some of them, MIDMARK manufactures one that runs a maintenance cycle, and it would actually benefit you just to leave that unit on. They also make one that has a piston that needs to be lubricated. If you don't, it's gonna seize up. The only time it needs to be lubricated is when you turn the unit off for an extended period of time. So I think it's important to contact the manufacturer directly and find out what unit you have and what they recommend to do to it to prepare it for shutting it down for a few weeks. The other thing you're going to want to do is once you figure that out, if you do turn the unit off, you're going to want to also drain the pressure out of the system as well, okay? And then from there, it's going to be pretty easy. What you're going to want to do is replace the amalgam separator. I think it's important to do that for the plain and simple fact that there's a ton of Prophy paste in there, and when it dries out, it sets up like concrete. So next we're going to go into the operatory. I want you to purge your lines, okay? And that's just as simple as opening up your HVE and your saliva ejector valves. And then from there, pop those handles out and lubricate them with a water-based lubricant. And what that's going to do is it's going to just let you, when you come back, it's going to be a little bit smoother to open those valves. After that, you're going to release the pressure on the air lines in there, and you're just going to do that by hitting the air button on your air water syringe. And then also you're gonna drain and empty the water bottles. Let those air dry. On most dental units, there's a toggle that says either flush or it says purge. Go ahead and hit that toggle and it's gonna push any water that's remaining inside of the dental unit out of the dental unit. I think it's gonna be important when you do come back to practice after a few weeks of off that you might wanna consider, and you should consider, actually just shocking your water lines when you do come back, okay? But from there, I think it's also important to replace any solid screens, empty out any Prophy powder. If you're using a Cavijet, empty out that Prophy powder, because if you don't, there's the probability of it setting up just rock solid, and you don't want that. And then empty out any solution that you use in like a Cavitron reservoir or whatnot. You don't want that sitting in there as well. Now we're going to step into the sterilization area. I think it's important to lubricate all your hand pieces and sterilize all your instruments and all your hand pieces. From there, date them. You should have a stamp in the sterilization area that has the date, just so you know when they were last sterilized, okay? If you're using cassettes, you can write on the cassette wrap the date that you're sterilizing it. Next, you're gonna empty out the water in the sterilizer. Don't refill it. You're gonna empty out the water in the ultrasonic. Don't refill it. And you're also gonna empty out the water. And if you're running a Statum, a cassette style sterilizer, there's typically a bottle that the water purges into. Just empty out that collection water. It's disgusting, so you might as well just empty it out now as well. And then from there, it's important to empty out the water in your distiller as well. Then what I would do is I would shut down all my computers, unplug my panoramic, CBCT. If you have wall-mounted x-rays, unplug those. Take your Nomad batteries off the charger, okay? Because if you're gonna be gone for a few weeks, you don't want those batteries sitting there. It actually degrades the battery itself. And then, you know, again, unplug any x-rays, dental chairs, they all plug in. So go ahead and unplug those as well. So if you have any other questions beyond that, hit me up in the comments below. I'll be answering those. And again, I'll have this list written out in the bottom in the description of this as well. All right. Thank you very much. See you in a few weeks.